of my people in red clothes. Styling my metaphors when I formulate my flows. If you don't know, you're messing with lyrical player pros like that.
Wanna party with me?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Walk in His Ways Impact Woods podcast. I am Furman Jackson Jr. We are broadcasting right now in the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, Texas metropolitan area. I'm very excited, truly honored to be with y'all one more time in y'all prayers. Where you may be watching us at, whether you watching us at home, where you working out at the gym, where you just out and about and you just pull it up on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter. But once again, I gotta say thank y'all for tuning in and being with us on this great Saturday morning. Of course, you know it is October the 13th, of course, 2024. And I want to say, please welcome Liliana Herrera to the Walking This Ways Impact Woods podcast, a mortgage loan officer with Broken Home Mortgage Express in Arlington, Texas, with 20 years of experience in client services and banking. Liliana is a valuable addition to our guest list. Liliana, thank you for taking time out of your productive schedule to come on the show, talk about your career, how you got started. 20 years is a very long time in staying consistent in what you do. So go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience here on the Walking This Ways Impact Woods podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. This is my first, very, very first podcast. I hope it's not the last one, right?
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, my name is Liliana Herrera. I'm a home mortgage consultant. Like you were saying, I've been in the banking, financial business services for like over 20, almost 20 years. I started as a teller, like in one of those big banks. I went, up the ladder, teller assistant, teller manager. Then I went to be a banker, and then from banker I went to be a branch manager for like almost 10 years. And you know how the banking industry is changing. Everything now is moving to digital. Online banking, mobile deposits, things like that. So a lot of the brick and mortar locations are closing down. So it was time for me to change, like continue in the financial services, but change and kind of like people say, go to the dark side, being like a self-employed. So one of my colleagues from years ago that we worked together at the bank opened her own mortgage brokerage here in Arlington. So she was like, well, if you ever decide to leave retail and come, work, as a self-employed, why don't you just come and work with me? So I moved to her. She sponsored me and everything. So I moved to work I left retail and come to work as a self-employed, which is a big change. When you work in corporate, you have a schedule. You come here at 9 or now even before 9, like 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So always that is structure. So it was a little bit of change because I always been, I had to have a schedule. So now, I was like, wow, why didn't I do this before? I don't have to ask for leave or like, okay, can I leave early or can I come in late, for personal stuff or, medical things. So it's a change, but it also has those perks, like, you can combine your personal things with work and, last weekend I went to Mexico to a wedding for my cousin. I hadn't been in Mexico for like 17 years. So I took my laptop and even over, as soon as I got there, I was working, getting on the computer, helping clients over the phone as well, because I made sure my phone was working there too. So it's like, I think I like it more now. And I was, any change it's kind of scary. Like, okay, I'm gonna go be my own boss. I'm gonna have to do my own thing. So it's been a journey, but I like it now because I have that freedom that if I have to go somewhere, I just take my laptop and my phone, and I can continue working. Yes, so that's my passion, helping clients. When I started, it was like everybody was writing tons of checks and carrying cash. We were like, when I was a teller, hey, you got to talk to the clients, make sure you educate them that we have a debit card, that we have online banking. Oh my God. A lot of people got offended. A lot of people got upset because we were always talking about, those options. It took a little bit. And now here we are. People don't carry cash anymore. Most of the people don't carry cash, and everybody uses their phone or online banking to do all the purchases, looking at the account and everything. So I mean, it's like an eye opener. Like I said, change is always scary. So a lot of clients were no, I don't want a card. I don't want. I write checks. I carry cash, and now everything is like almost cashless. It's like hard to have somebody that, hey, can you make a change? Well, I don't carry cash. So it's been quite a journey, see the evolution, especially after 9/11. Everybody was writing checks. Then the country came to a halt. All those transactions couldn't be done because people, I mean, banks were still carrying the original checks from one place to another. So that was also the eye opener. Hey, we need to make sure everybody uses debit card. Everybody, and people wanted the original checks. They would not take a copy. They wanted the original. So that's also like how all that affected because they couldn't carry the original checks from one place to another. So that's why they say, hey, we're gonna start, imaging the checks, making copies, and the copy is as good as the original because there's no way if something else happens. I mean, something was to happen again. How are we gonna move all those, those checks from one place to another? So yes, I started like way back when people didn't want a debit card or online banking.
Right, right. And we know that that's like you said, the change, the transition, and like I said, you actually started in retail before you start doing what you're doing now.
Uh-huh.
How was that transition? Are you the type of individual who's always up for a challenge? I know when sometimes when we just one dimensional and we get presented to do a new thing, we buck against, we fight against it instead of saying, you know what, let me just take the chance and see where I like it or not. So when you made that transition, was it a smooth transition? How was the transition from retail to actually work with actually within the arena that you're in now?
Like I said, it was a little. I mean, it was a little bit challenging because the structure. Okay, I have to be here like from this time to this time, and now I gotta do my own thing. I have to, like source my own clients. I have to be out there. And one of the things is this: like, if I was still probably in retail, I would never thought about doing a podcast. Like, wow, no, I don't think I can do that. So it's so like, how do you just have to adapt? Especially, I'm not the young anymore. So it's like, okay, I gotta just check it off and okay, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to be out there reaching out to people, make sure because if you're, it's like nobody knows me, right? Like if I'm starting, it's like nobody knows you. So how you gonna put yourself out there and make sure the people know you? You're in the community. You're participating in networking events and things like that. People out there, so they know you and they get to recognize you, right? And like I
Right,
said, I mean, the main thing is being out there for the clients. Make sure they know who I am. Make sure what I do. Make sure where my office is. It's not that just me on the phone, somebody on the phone calling them, hey, I'm a home mortgage, and then by the time I call them, they already know or they reach out to me. That's the ultimate goal. That people reach out to you once they feel like they can trust you. You're out there. They see you what you do and things like that. Especially nowadays with so many people out there taking advantage of people that don't know the process or people that are like starting and they don't know where to start. And I've heard stories like people charging left and right when there is not even a need to charge for anything. So I want to make sure like clients feel comfortable just asking, and that's why I always put on my advertisings or my my posts, free, I mean, complimentary client consultation, so they know that there is no charge. There shouldn't be a charge. And there are people out there like taking advantage of the community, and that's what gets me the most. Like, oh my gosh, why are these people still out there?
right. And I know when we talk about these things, especially when dealing with finances and credit, these are conversations that can be very, very uncomfortable to anybody because these are things that we never talk about. These are things we never address. But being more, and I know you mentioned when you talk to your clients, complimentary, making them feel comfortable, make it feel like they're not being looked down or judged. Because like I said, this can be a very, very uncomfortable conversation when it comes to finances and where our credit score is and where we at, especially when we want to go to get in a home. Because I know a lot of people want to buy a home. And then matter of fact, you really want to buy a nice home. in a nice area, nice location, nice neighborhood, great school district. These are things that people are looking for, who are single, married, or with a family.
Yes. Yeah, and yeah, like I said, it's really uncomfortable. Like they don't want to talk, and you have to ask questions, and they feel like you're intruding. But that's part of the process, and that's part of like telling you all the information, telling you about the process. Make sure like you have any questions about that, and not just okay. Well, let me take your application, and okay, I'll get with you. No, I mean you have to. I mean that's what I like to do. Like explain what the process is, explain what's the next step. Also, like you said, is one of the biggest purchase of your life. Oh yeah, and then it's like you cannot just go like, okay, let's just do the application. That's what I like to explain step by step. And you have any questions and check on them, like the next day. Okay, is there anything else? Was everything clear? What else can I help you with? Just let me know. And sometimes people just shut down. Like after I give them all the information and then a follow up, then you get ghosted or things like that. And I guess it's because like I said, change and also trying to like disclose everything. Some people don't feel comfortable, but that's how it is. Of course the people that are going to lend you the money, like thousands of dollars, they have to really make sure that your employment is right, that your credit is what it is. Because a lot of people, I mean even me, we use like karma, credit karma and things like that. And even on the on your bank account you can see your FICO score. Well, the lenders use another FICO score. It's not the same, so it can be like way different for like 30-40 points. So that's why we have to actually pull the credit. And the people, oh well, it's gonna deduct points. Well, that's one of the things. Like whenever we check it, we do first a soft pull. It's called soft pull, where we can see pretty much like the overall picture. And then if the client decides to move forward, then we do the hard pull. So then that's when it really hits the credit. So the first one doesn't. We just want to see the picture, the liabilities, which is the debt, and then where they stand, and see we can even do like get them pre-qualified or up pre-approval, and then go from there. But I mean, a lot of
Right,
people don't even want to do that. But it's we really have to do that because we have to verify the credit score is what you're telling me it is.
right, right.
Mhm.
And Liliana, it takes sacrifice, it takes commitment, it takes discipline, especially when this is part of your goal and getting everything, as they say, get your ducks in a row, but having everything in order. It's gonna be some time where you're gonna have to lay back with going out, pleasure things, especially if you're working towards getting your finances in order, seeing where your credit score at. Start working on these things. How is it with clients when it comes to just working on getting that credit established, working on paying some things off? Do you implement that a lot too? Okay, let's start paying some things off. How do you go about that as well when working with a client?
Yes, well, I'll ask, do you have any idea what is your credit score? Okay. Do you have any credit? Because there's a lot of people also that don't want credit, that they don't have any
Right,
credit because they don't say, no, I don't want to get in debt. So, and they think because sometimes it can show like 700, 800 points, but they have no credit at all. And that's the reason because they haven't had any credit. So, yes, it's not just about the points, it's actually what you have out there. So whenever you're trying to purchase a home or a car, even anything that you're gonna get a thousands of dollars for that, like a car or a house, you at least have to have 3 lines of credit open and in good standing. Some of them will take two. Some of like sometimes we can work it out if the client has 2 lines open. But that also plays a factor. It's not just about the point. So I explained that, like, if you don't have any credit, we need to start building the credit. Talk to your bank. They offer what they call it. I don't. Some of them do secure credit cards, which you
yeah, I
have
heard about that.
like deposit, or some of them don't just give you a credit card but with a low amount. So that's just to start you with. And then also another thing will be like if you're married and your spouse has a credit card or any type of credit like open lines, they can also add you as an authorized user, and that will reflect on your credit as well. It'll take a whole cycle or 2 cycles, but then you're gonna show that you already have the credit because your spouse had that open line and you just add they add just an authorized user. And then if that is not possible, then the only thing is, just open one on your own and start building your credit for 1, 2, 3 months, because it takes a whole 30 days or more to show on the credit
Right.
report. It's not like immediately. So, just start building the credit. Do not open too many, just open the necessary. And then, that's how you start your credit.
Right. Also want to talk about too, paying things on time.
Hmm.
Make sure we paying our bills on time. Make sure we're paying our rent on time. Make sure we're paying our car note on time. I
Yes.
know that plays a huge role too as well, right? When we pay things on time, do it help
Yes.
elevate our credit score? We pay these things on time.
Yes, that yes, paying everything on time, and sometimes the bills don't play a factor unless we kind of like contact the credit report agencies. But that also can help, like paying your cell phone, because nowadays everybody has a cell phone. Paying
Right.
your cell phone online on time, your utilities, then we can have like a have them report them on your credit. But that's something that we actually, the client actually has to talk to the credit bureaus, because those are not I mean, they're included in the overall income and debt, but not actually on the credit report. So that's something that we can do and try and work it out. But the best thing will be like opening your own credit line or being added to your spouse's credit line.
Right, because I know it plays a role. Especially, I know you have auto pay. They
Yes.
help you pay it on time too. So it's with taking advantage of the opportunity that's presented before us. Because we're in the times now where everything is really convenient compared to back in the night. Well, I was born in the '80s, compared to
Yeah.
that time, growing up in the '90s. But not everything in the 2000s, early 2000s, but everything is more convenient now, right at
Yes.
our footsteps now. Even now, you can have your groceries delivered to you now. You can have everything right at your doorstep,
Yeah.
or right on your laptop, the iPad, whatever. Everything is more convenient now, to where I say there is no excuses unless you really don't want to do it. But
Yes.
I really want to focus more on the making the sacrifice, and that just really been on my spirit is sacrificing the temporary pleasures for the long term success.
Yes.
If you want the nice house, we know it takes work to get the nice house, and you gotta make sure your ducks in a row. How do you I want to say coach, counsel your clients who, okay, I still want to go out and have a life, to compare to, okay, now I have to save towards my dream home or whatever the case may be. What advice do you give them when they're torn between the two, per se? If that makes sense.
Yes. And one of the things that we have to really take consideration and think about is like, when you want to buy a home, all the payments that you're making, that is equity going into the home. Like that money that you paying towards that home is yours. It's gonna come back to you if you decide to move one day, sell the home, upscale, downscale. It's like that is your money. When you renting, it's like going to someone else. You're paying somebody else's, wealth and putting money into their savings account. So when you just gotta kind of like, well, because I'm scared the payments, yes, but you're already paying rent, so you just gotta kind of like balance. Do I want to make somebody else's savings account bigger, or do I want to start doing, start my like generational wealth? Like, am I putting this money into this house so I can start building the equity and have that there? Like, in one, if I need to sell it or refinance it and get the cash out, that's going to help me. So kind of like, okay, what is it that you really want to do? I know, scary, like I said, change is scary. You think because you're going to have a house, of course there are maintenance things that you might have to pay for, but that is just comes with the territory. So what is it that you really want to do? Let's make a plan. Okay, so instead of going to Starbucks or going out to dinner every 2 3 times a week, let's just cut it down to one. Or maybe go 2 weeks without going out and put that money aside for the down payment. Or okay, and oh my gosh, and the thing is that people love cars. They have like, they don't mind having like an 800 $900 car payment.
Hmm.
Is it's like, okay, before you buy that luxury car, why don't you just stick with the one that you have? It's still working good, like instead of changing that for that luxury car, that's already there like 500, $600 that you can save. So
Right.
wait on that. Like, that is it a want or is it a need? Do you need a luxury car or do you just need a car to go to work and come back and forth? So sometimes it's
Right.
just like, having that conversation. Do you really need it? Do you really want it? So what is the difference? And put that aside so you can also, have build up the savings accounts. Especially nowadays, there's a lot of programs out there that can help you with the down payment, but also sometimes you're still gonna have a little bit of cash, or you're gonna need cash for closing costs and stuff like that. So yes, there's a lot of help out there, but you sometimes are still gonna have to bring some money to the table.
Yeah, most definitely. And before going to further, we'll take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back after commercial break.
Okay.
My name is Furman Jackson Jr. I am excited to be one of the affiliated for the professional networking session brought to you by 3-in-1 Trinity Service. This awesome event will be taking place on Saturday, May 18th, year 2024 at the Bill J. Priest in Dallas. This will be a very impactful event for like-minded entrepreneurs. Come out, network, experience, and most importantly, support the fish and text that's going to be a part of this extraordinary event. I will see you there. Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back here on the Walking This Way Impact Woods podcast. Tonight, to this morning episode is conversation with Liliana Herrera. She has 20 years of experience in the work that she does, and she's great. She's great. She drops a wealth of knowledge to really help us out if we want to go into the right direction when it comes to purchasing a home. Also, I'm rocking the Be the Solution, Not the Problem t-shirt. That's from Walking This Way's Impact Was podcast. That's what we want to be, folks. All about being the solution and not the problem. And we know that when there is a problem, there's a solution, right? So let's focus on being more the solution. So that's why I'm rocking today. Be the solution, not the problem. That's a shirt that I'm rocking, of course. It is available now on the Walking This Way Impact Woods podcast website. Go ahead and purchase today. Pass information along. But right now we're back here with conversation with Liliana Herrera here in Arlington, Texas. She has 20 years of experience in what she does. 20 years is a long time. How do you keep yourself relevant in doing this for 20 years? I know you hear people, they get tired, they get bored, they get burnt out. But how do you keep yourself relevant for doing this for 20 years?
I guess the main thing is, helping people. You want to make sure, like, I mean, not because I know some of the banking, that means everybody knows about banking. Being a banker, I mean, even being a manager at the branch and everything, I was like helping clients open up the first checking account, explaining about online banking. So it was just, the passion of helping people and not assuming that everybody, will know about banking. Because, the younger,
Right.
yeah, the younger generation, they didn't know how to fill out a check, and sometimes they needed to. So, it's not because we're thinking that everything is digital. The younger generations are going to know how a check is filled or how do you do transfers or things like that. So, it's like there's always something that somebody's going to need help with. So I was always, asking questions like, do you know online banking? Do you know how do the checking and savings account work? Some people don't even know how they work. They think it's the same thing. So, it's just that was the one, what made me like stay in the game, make sure that I was helping clients, also doing literacy, financial literacy, like sessions, going out there. I love to go to those the elementary schools, and we will spend like the whole day as a teachers, helping at the same thing, like trying to explain to kids, like, is it a want or is it a need? Like, do you really need this, or or is that you just want that? So, kind of like putting that, trying to explain that the difference between the two at a young age, so they know, like, okay, instead of wanting this, I really need this, and doing that, putting the money aside for the things that they need, not the things that they want. So, and also
Right.
going out there at the high schools, make sure that we talked about credit, because, once I don't know if it happened to you, but once you're like ready to get, when you're about to get out of high school and you turn 18, you start getting all this information, all these applications. Hey, we're gonna give you a credit card. Hey, come with us. We're gonna give you a credit card for college credit card and things like that. And they didn't know like what it was, that built-in credit. Like, don't take, go and max it out. Like, this is, buy books and things, pay it off, and then don't max it out. And just by experience having a high schooler, a couple of years or 3 years ago, like, mom, they don't teach us anything at school anymore. It's nothing about economics. They don't teach us how to write a check, how credit works, and everything like the way it was before, like years back. Like, they will have a class about that. They didn't have it anymore. So that kind of is an eye opener. Like, I want to help clients. I want to make sure they understand, younger generations, older generations, about digital, about mobile deposit, mobile banking, and then the newer generations, like what it is to fill out a check, what it is to make transfers, what it is to get credit. So there's always somebody out there that needs help with things like that. Like,
Right.
you cannot assume that we all know everything about banking.
Right, and like I said, this it's important information for all of us, and I said all of us to
Yes.
know because you mentioned something you mentioned earlier about change, so we know change is important. You keep saying that, which is good. Change is important. We have to change ourselves, which means we have to evolve, right? So we
Yes.
got to constantly evolve with the times that we can be open minded, of course. You have to be more open minded to new ideas, be open minded to great information as yourself and many others who are in this field for a reason to help receive it. It's not to hurt us, it's to help us grow.
Yes.
I big shot. I remember this guy said years ago, he told his son, he said, I'm not a grown man, I'm a growing man. He was letting his son know, hey, I'm always learning. Even though I may be an adult of an age, but I'm still always learning. I'm still growing. And that's the mentality that we should all have that, hey, I'm still a growing man. I know you're still a growing woman. Even though you've been in this business for 20 years, but the times are changing, like you said. So you have to constantly change with the times instead of just being stuck in the old way, which a lot of people do. They still stick to the old way, but you gotta realize them ways, old way has completely changed now because you're dealing with a new generation. What they say you're dealing with millennials,
Yeah.
and now your everything is more per se more electronically wise now. Everything is more computerized now. So it's always keeping up the times. And I remember my mom, big shout out to my mom. I remember she started to count for me and my brothers when we were younger and teach us about savings. We don't hear much about that no more, Liliana. Learning how to save our money. If it's just putting $20 away, just start with something. And how do you go about with that with teaching individuals how to save? How should they save? Because a lot of individuals don't know how to save. I guess you want to say balance everything out, put everything in perspective so we know exactly where everything is going. Because if we don't control our finances will control us if that makes sense. Well, we be all over the place.
Yes, and like you said, it's a combination. So now a lot of the mobile banking apps, if you'd like look in there, a lot of them have already the spending report. It's an eye opener. I encourage you to go in there and see how much you're spending on Uber or eating out, because that's one of the main things. And I mean, even sometimes me is like, whoa, what am I doing? So if that's an eye opener, so if you go there and look where your money is going, I can assure you most of it is going on eating out, Uber, or things that are not needs, that are they're just wants. So if you put that, I mean, even like sometimes it can be like $1,000 a month just from doing that. So if we really, if you really want to start up building up your savings, I would suggest to just look at that and see how much you're spending on things that are not necessary. So
Right.
that would be one of the things that to cut down on. Like, okay, oh, $1,000 a month on just like eating out and things like that. Why not just like you said, change is hard. So why don't we just, cut it in half? Instead of spending $1,000, then just spend $500. And then, like, in a couple of weeks, okay, let me go see how am I doing? Okay, well, you know what? Let me cut a little bit more. Let me just, instead of spending 500, let me start spending only 300 on that and save the rest. So, that's just making a plan, like, okay, how much am I spending? How much can I really cut down on this? Is it really necessary? No. Okay, well, let me just cut down on that and put it aside in a savings account.
Right. It makes sense because you gotta know exactly where your money is going. Like you said, is it a necessity or just a want? Another thing I want to talk about too, when it comes to our salaries, I know a lot of times, a lot of us, a lot of individuals who are in the workforce work a lot of overtime. Which overtime is a privilege. That's extra money. We have individuals who incorporate their overtime into their base salary. What advice do you give? Can you give individuals on that? On separate, don't include your overtime money in your base salary. If that makes sense, but
Yeah.
separating the two, because I know
Well,
overtime you can see that's like a privilege to a lot of people. That's extra money, but we know a lot of times people include their overtime money into their base salary.
Well, yeah, it will be just kind of the same. You know what? Like, keep it out of sight, out of mind. Okay, I'm getting this, so let me just put it aside and don't even, factor in on the base salary. So that's something extra, like you said, that I'm being, that I have a privilege of. So let's just put it aside and don't count it, with your base salary, because that way you don't overspend. You don't go out there and get the things that you really don't need, and that way, even it can be for anything. If you want to purchase a home, you want to go on vacation, anything like that, some of the things that you don't get to do very often, but you can reward yourself with that. But just kind of like put it on the side and don't factor in, because then next thing you know, you already spent it.
Right. And you got to know exactly what you want. That's another thing too, Leon, is knowing exactly what you want, where you going, where you want to go, how you want to be, where you're heading in your life, and how important it's like they say, how bad do you want to breathe? It's like if you're in the middle of the ocean and you start sinking, what you gonna do? You gonna pull yourself up by any means necessary. Because at the end of the day, you want to breathe. You don't want to drown.
Yes.
So it really put in that perspective is how bad I want this thing to work. Okay, I'm putting it to everything aside. Okay, I'm not going out. I'm working towards something. Another thing I want to talk about too, Leon, is being excited. I know a lot of times people don't be excited. They think it's, oh, I can't do this, but it should be an exciting time if the goal is very exciting to you. What do you want to say about that?
Yes, I mean, it's you should be excited. It's gonna take a little bit of work, you
It
gotta
is.
work for it. So, but also, you know what? Just see it as a reward. Like, okay, all this hard work that I'm putting into this to achieve that, to get my dream house, or get my luxury car finally when I can afford it. So it's like, okay, don't see it, oh my gosh, this is why am I doing this? So it's got to be something that it really, like, where you seeing yourself in like a year, where you seeing yourself in the 6 months. Okay, so this is the goal that I'm working towards to. So instead of being just like, oh gosh, I can do this, or things like that. Just, be excited, like you said, like, okay, this is going to be the reward. This is going to be the end goal. This is what I've been working for. So I finally got it, like that excitement that you reached the goal, that you finally got what you want. So, it's just like putting that, and also thinking, okay, after I get it, how is that going to affect, like, how's that gonna be also passing to my kids or my family? So it's not just about me, right? Like, it can be
Right.
also, like I said, generational wealth. Like, it's gonna be for your family, but you're the one making the change. You're the one working towards that goal.
Right, most definitely. Hey, we're gonna take another quick commercial break, and we'll be jump right back in our conversation with Liliana Herrera. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Hey y'all, Shane Pratt here. I'm super excited to be your MC for 3-in-1 Trinity Services Entrepreneur Conference and Pitch. Come and join us May 18th, 12:30 to 5 at Bill J. Priest in Dallas. This will be a very impactful experience filled with fun, learning, and most importantly, support for the pitch contestants. Remember, that's May 18th, 12:30 to 5 at Bill J. Priest. get it on your calendar. I can't wait to see y'all there.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back here this morning on the Walking This Ways Impact Woods podcast. Thank everybody for checking us out as we're live streaming right now, and for those who will go back and watch us in the future as well. We are live streaming, of course. Also, this episode will be added to our Heart Radio podcast, Spotify, and all social media platforms. So be sure to check that out when that actually be available. So we're talking about a lot of great things here. Liliana, I know I'm not gonna hold you up. I'm respectful of your time, but go ahead and say, how can the listening audience, how can they support you and the work that you're doing?
Yes, like, I just have like three things, like, that I think they're really important, especially if you're, looking to purchase a home. One of the things is like make sure you ask questions, make sure you get everything clear, like how the process is. Second will be like there is help out there. There is assistance for down payments. There is, there are resources out there. So make sure you're asking about those, or, Google them. There's like the Texas Fund that gives you, assistance for down payment. So make sure you're asking about that. Second, taxes. I know we don't like to pay to Uncle Sam, but if you're self-employed, you want to make sure you're reporting money to Uncle Sam and that you're showing what you're making. Because a lot of times we get the tax returns and they're, oh yes, I make like 80, 90,000 a year. And then when you look, they only reported like 12,000. I had a client only reporting like $393. So
Mm,
there's not coming back from that. Either you're gonna have to amend them to make sure you show what you really make. And yes, you might have to pay. But if you're in the, it's we need 2 years. So if you're not reporting anything, exactly what you're making, that income is not going to be there to get you pre-qualified or pre-approved. So that's one of the things. And the last one is that if you're in the process, I cannot stress this enough. If you're in the process of buying a home, after you do the pre-qualification and everything, make sure you do not open any more credit cards. You do not go buy it. You don't go buying that luxury
right.
car that you were paying for, and also you don't make large movements of money between accounts or anything like that. I can tell you that underwriters will go that day off and still check your credit and check everything. And we had like make like explanations like, were you trying to buy a car because it shows here that a dealership hit your credit, and if you didn't, good, we can still explain it. But if you actually bought it, that brings down your income. So please, please, please make sure you don't do that. Yes, yes. And I mean, how can you support me? Just, reach out to me. Like I said, any questions you have, I'm more than happy to answer anything, any questions that you have, explain the process. If it's not you that you're ready to buy a home, maybe a family member, a friend, anybody, I can always help. I do purchases, refinances. I mean, if you have a business and you need, cash flow, we can also do a refinance with cash out, so you can, put that cash back into your business. Or if you're thinking that, oh well, I already have a home, well, you can also buy another one for rental or investment. So there's plenty of opportunities out there if you already have a home, or you're trying to purchase a home, or you own a business. So just hit me up, and like I said, don't be afraid to ask those questions. It's not going to be, it's like no pressure. You can always call me. I answered your questions. And if it's something that you want to do, we can always start the process and move forward. And if it's not something that you want to do, hey, at least you learn something about the process and how it works.
Man, awesome. Hey, it's all about, ladies and gentlemen, change your mindset. Change where you think. Everything starts here. I'm go biblical for a moment. Even Apostle Paul said, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by renewing of our mind, that we may know the good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So we have to change this, ladies and gentlemen. If we don't change this, we're just gonna repeat the same thing over and over and over again until we make up in our mind. Say, you know what? It's all or nothing. At least I did say I tried. So, Liliana, I thank you once again for coming on this morning to take time out of your productive schedule. I don't want to hold you. I'm very respectful of time, of course. And don't be a stranger. I'd love to have you back on here anytime here on the platform for this morning. Hey, let me ask you this before I let you go. Any words of advice, any sounds of wisdom that you want to leave here with the listener audience this morning?
Just like you said, mindset. Change your mindset. Make sure you're getting all the information. Make sure you're not afraid to ask questions. This is what I learned on my all years of management. Be curious. Ask questions.
Hey, that's it. Ask questions. Don't be
Yes.
afraid. Don't be ashamed. Even God told Jeremiah, don't be afraid of their faces. So don't be afraid of their faces, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, God did not give you the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. I just want to throw that out there. But we're going to let y'all go. Enjoy y'all Saturday. If you're going out, be wise in your spending. Put a budget together. Knowing all this stuff, that's growth, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the mature adults. That's the word for today. Mature adults. That's how we're gonna do it. So we got this thing, and I will be back here Tuesday night here on the Walking This Way Impact Woods podcast. God bless everybody. Peace.
Just keep your eyes on God and see this change soon come.